Miami, first-rounder Andrew Heaney. And outfielder Jake Marisnick arrived yesterday. And so did former Gator Anthony DeSclafani. And tonight, Disco gets the ball, and he takes aim at the Cubs. You need hits? Call Casey McGee. He's all about the hits. Casey McGee and the Marlins face the Cubs tonight in Miami. In Miami, T-Mobile Tuesday Night Baseball. Marlins and Cubs, Part 2, Game 2. Last night, extra innings. Travis Wood, a pitcher, decided it for the Cubs in the 13th. Tonight, it's the Marlins and the Cubs again. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. Welcome to Miami. Welcome to Game 2 of this series. Now, normally, we save the pitching matchup for the end of our open. But we're going right into it because I think that's where the story lies. Our Chevron starters, Tommy Hutton.
Why not? Let's just jump right into the pitching matchup tonight. How about for the Marlins, Anthony DeSclafani? For the Cubs, it's Jeff Samardzija. Samardzija, a guy who beat the Marlins in Chicago, went 7 innings, gave up 5 hits, a couple of runs. 9 of his 14 starts this year, he's gone 7 or more innings. For DeSclafani, we saw him pitch really good in Los Angeles. He had good fastball command. His slider, he calls it a slider, it's kind of a slurve in between, was working. He has to have fastball command. We were told when he came up, he's athletic, he repeats that delivery, and he's a strike thrower, and we saw that in L.A.
So, DeSclafani got knocked around against the Phillies, went down and pitched in AAA, and pitched well in AAA. Jeff Samardzija has been dynamite all year long. He did not get a win in his first 2 months, but he was leading the majors in ERA. This was his start and his numbers against the Fish.
He's a guy, Rich, that has a terrific split-finger fastball along with his fastball, but he's been using his slider very effectively. We'll see which one's working best for him tonight.
And a guy that he's got to be concerned with, Hits McGee, just continues to swing it.
Just look at the numbers. How about the batting average? The RBIs, leading all the third basemen in the National League, game-winning RBIs, runners in scoring position. Hey, yeah, that's Hits McGee. He's been fantastic.
Of course, you can't mention Casey McGee's name without mentioning Giancarlo Stanton's name. Email Twitter Tuesday tonight. We'll be connected. You're part of the show, so hop on board. When we get back, Giancarlo live with the Contessa, Allison Williams. Field, Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine.
And the ball club will try to follow up a stirring saxophone rendition by Billy Bones of the national anthem. Tonight's email, Twitter Tuesday, #NewFish. One of them back is Jake Marisnick, who made his return.
Yeah, he made it in a big way last night. 2 for 6 with a couple stolen bases. This guy, for me, is a game changer. He was the most improved guy that I saw in spring training. Hit over 400 in spring training. Defensively, one of the better, or probably the best center field outfielder that the Marlins have. So looking for big things from Jake Marisnick.
Allison standing by with an old fish of sorts. Giancarlo Stanton.
Thank you very much, guys. Giancarlo, last night after 13 innings of baseball, all anybody wanted to talk about was your line drive home run opposite field in the first. When that ball left your bat, where did you think it was headed?
I thought I was going to hit the fence, actually. I hit it, and I was like, all right, I got the job done. I'll be on second, and Miggy will hit me in. And then it just kept going and going. I was like, I hit first. I was like, oh, all right, I'll take 2 instead of 1. So, yeah, it happens sometimes.
You take 2, scoring Jake Marisnick. He's one of several new Marlins. How has the team dynamic, the clubhouse dynamic, shifted with all the new faces here for the team?
It's been all right. We were all pretty close in spring training when we were all in the same clubhouse. So, you got to understand the business side, and we know the personalities that are coming up, and they know their roles, and they'll be a good part for us.
Giancarlo, thank you so much for chatting with us as he is about to take the field here for Game 2 between the Marlins and the Cubs. Anthony DeSclafani on the mound for the Fish. It's email, Twitter, Tuesday. Game 2, Cubbies, Marlins is next.
Florida is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. By AT&T U-verse TV. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PICK-AT&T. Mobilizing your world. By Checkers. Checkers brings big flavor for a small price. Feed your craving for quality for only $8. Cha-ching. And by your South Florida Honda dealers and SFHondaDealers.com. Marlins Park, roof shut, rolling windows tight. AC is blaring on a sticky, humid night in Miami. Anthony DeSclafani out to the mound for his 3rd Major League start, just up from AAA New Orleans. And this is the lineup he'll face from the Cubs. There's some trouble spots there for the Fish. Jay Alexis brings it to you. Luis Valbuena, Justin Ruggiano, Anthony Rizzo, Starlin Castro, a 5-game streak, and a big 3-run homer. It was the difference in the game last night. Nate Shearholtz in right, Junior Lake has power in center. Darwin Barney, a great glove at second. Eli Whiteside will do the catching, and Jeff Samardzija on the mound. He's had a terrific year. And for Anthony DeSclafani, Tommy Hutton, he would like to pitch like he did in his first Major League start.
You know, when we saw DeSclafani at Dodger Stadium in that Major League debut against the Dodgers, he did what we were told. He was repeatable. He threw strikes. He used that breaking ball. He was good command with his fastball. He lost a little of that in the game against the Philadelphia Phillies. Against the Phillies, he gave up 6 hits and 5 runs in 5 1/3 innings. So we'll keep an eye. Worked on a changeup a little bit when he went back to the minor leagues, and we'll see how Disco performs tonight. Here's a look at the defense behind DeSclafani with Ozuna again in left field, Marisnick in center, Giancarlo in right. McGee, Echeverria, Rafael Furcal back in the lineup. Garrett Jones at first, and behind the plate, JT Realmuto.
It's actually a little disco music behind the Marlins defense.
Kind of an 80s feel.
There you go. DeSclafani now. Pinchy Penny brings you the first pitch. Luis Valbuena climbs in with Ruggiano and Rizzo scheduled here in the first after a long night of baseball last night. DeSclafani misses down low. Jeff Nelson calling balls and strikes. A look at Valbuena, who last night was at second base, starts this ball game at third base. Couple hits, couple walks for Valbuena, and a strike. It is 1-1. Marlins and Cubs were 4-4 for the longest time last night. It was 4-4 after 6, and it stayed that way into the 13th. Marlins bullpen was really good. The Cubs bullpen was really good.
And there are a few of those guys on both sides that probably aren't available tonight.
That's the importance of both DeSclafani and Samardzija getting deep. DeSclafani misses away. He's fallen behind at 3-1. Anthony is 24. Freehold, New Jersey. Look at Ruggiano on deck. Colts Neck High School in New Jersey. High Papa. Waiting for it is for call, and he makes the catch. And there's one out.
Yeah, high school in Jersey, and then on his way to the University of Florida to become a Gator.
The funny thing about DeSclafani at Florida, he wasn't always in the starting rotation, and he wasn't the ace, so to speak. But the Blue Jays liked what they saw when they saw him and took him in the 6th round. He has been a better pitcher in professional baseball than he ever was in college baseball.
His junior year at Florida, he was 5-3, had a 4.33 ERA. He appeared in 28 games, but just 2 starts. So he worked out of the bullpen for the most part.
Hashtag new fish is the hashtag if you're tweeting us tonight on an email Twitter Tuesday. Fouled at the plate.
I think it's really interesting, Rich, with DeSclafani pitching tonight. You've got him on the mound. You have Echeverria at short, and you have Jake Marisnick in center field.
And of course, if you want to complete and run through that trade with the Blue Jays, that 7 players that came from Toronto, the Marlins roster dotted with it. Jeff Mathis, who started last night behind the plate, also included in that trade. Henderson Alvarez in the starting rotation as well. And down in the minor leagues, Justin Nicolino, Tommy, at Jacksonville is having a fine year. ERA in the low 3s into center. And Derek Dietrich is tearing it up right now in New Orleans. So the Marlins, the value of all 7 of those guys, Dietrich, of course, was flipped for Yunel Escobar. But the value of all those guys in that Toronto trade, obviously not evident last year in a 100-loss season, but blossoming this year.
I took a peek at Dietrich's numbers. 9 games in New Orleans, 378 average, 5 home runs, and 12 RBIs.
Here's Anthony Rizzo. Rizzo 0 for 5 last night. And DeSclafani a fastball for a strike. Rizzo, the game-winning homer against the Fish in Chicago. That also was an extra inning affair. So the key for the Marlins against the Cubs, stay away from extra innings. Twice they've lost to them
Well, and really a key in their lineup as far as don't let these guys beat you are Rizzo and Castro, the way they've been swinging the bats.
Rizzo, the Parkland kid. Hey,
great play.
Heck of a play.
Great play.
An aggressive shift on the scouting report by that fan. Had he been playing him 2 seats over, Tommy, he never would have made the play. Now that's advanced metrics at its best. DeSclafani gets a strikeout, punches out Rizzo. Will open the emails and the tweets as the Marlins come to hit in the first. Marisnick, Real Muto, and of course DeSclafani. All right, Marlins lineup going into this ball game against the Cubs. Brought to you by JM Lexus, Rafael Furcal, Danny Echeverria, Giancarlo Stanton, Casey McGee, Garrett Jones, Marcell Ozuna on a 5-game hit streak. Jake Marisnick slides down to the 7th spot with Furcal in the lineup. JT Real Muto will do the catching, and Anthony DeSclafani hits 9th.
And there's a look at Jeff Samardzija, 29 years old now, 5th round by the Cubs back in '06 out of Notre Dame.
And Rafael Furcal, who had the night off somewhat, leads it off. Samardzija's numbers this year. Don't look at the record, just look at the ERA.
A lot of talk in the Chicago area about Jeff Samardzija. Will the Cubs extend him an offer? Will he be a Cub for a while, or will they put him out on the trade market?
Here's the 2-0. One report today was that the Cubs and Samardzija have started to talk about a long-term deal. Last week, the reports were the Cubs were taking offers. Teams were kicking the tires on both Samardzija and Jason Hammel, who pitched quite well last night and has pitched well against the Marlins this year. Bouncer up the middle for Call with a base hit. And the Marlins are off to a good start.
All of a sudden, and it took a couple of games, all of a sudden you're seeing Rafael Furcal with better bats. Even last night in his pinch hit appearance when he grounded out, we saw him run really well up the first baseline. So good to see him start the game that way.
Danny Echeverria received a promotion today, up into the 2 spot in the order, and Echeverria's been swinging the bat well in June. Comes to the plate. Miami right now a game out in the East behind the Atlanta Braves. The Nationals a half game back. The Nationals have dropped 4 in a row. The Braves, just like the Marlins, lost in extra innings last night.
Also 13 innings.
For call away from first, Samardzija 0-1 pitch. Echeverria into center field. That's a base hit. And so Miami opens the game with 2 hits up the middle. Not sure if it would matter, Tommy, but at Wrigley Field with that thick infield grass, you never know if both those balls get through.
That's a really good point, and that's why Samardzija sometimes has used that slider a little bit more, especially when he keeps it down. He gets the ground balls. But a different story at Marlins Park, a much faster infield. And remember when Stanton was in one of those really good grooves, it was mainly because the guys in front of him were getting on base and the opposing pitcher didn't have anywhere to put him.
And so here is Stanton to face Samardzija. Home run number 19 last night has been dissected and discussed by a variety of folks, many of them astrophysicists. All Stanton knew, as he told Allison Williams live before the game started, is that he thought it was extra bases when it left the bat. And then the next thing he knew, it had left the yard. Now this is 110.7 miles an hour to the opposite field.
And not on a fastball, on a hanging slider.
Two-0 pitch. Ooh, Stanton swings and misses at a breaking ball in the dirt.
Yeah, I didn't think he thought he was going to get slider there. He swung fastball and got slider. It's funny how we've seen certain pitchers pound him in with fastballs and others stay away primarily.
And the strength for Stanton this year has been the ability to take that ball just like he did last night and drive it to right field or to right center. Count 2 balls and 2 strikes. All right, we gave you live Stanton's reaction, the Geico quote. What did Jason Hamill think? I've never seen a home run like that. That thing took 2 seconds to get out of the ballpark.
I think most people who have followed this game and seen many baseball games felt the same way. Never seen a home run such as that one.
Samardzija's been able to get a couple of strikes on breaking balls. For Colin Echeverria have opened the inning with hits. And he got him on the slider. So a strikeout for Samardzija. His 83rd of the season.
Well, this guy's a durable guy. There's no question. There's a good slider. I believe the pitch before he went with his split. But a splitter and then a slider to get the strikeout. Terrific athlete. We've chronicled that with his tenure at Notre Dame as a wide receiver, All-American.
Casey McGee now, 11 straight for McGee. Typical night for him last night. 2 for 3 in RBI, 3 walks. McGee a ground ball, first base. Rizzo out there. Castro's relay behind Samardzija, and scoring is for Call. Samardzija coming over to cover, and it almost looked like, Tommy, he was still moving and didn't get himself set. Barney and Castro are a really good double play combination.
Yeah, you pretty much figured this was going to be 3-6-1. Castro's throw a little to the left of Samardzija, but he may have stretched out a little too soon. We see first basemen do that every once in a while. There's the stretch. He couldn't reach back the other way. It wasn't a great throw, but I think a throw that Samardzija could have handled, but the Marlins capitalize and get a run. It'll be an error charge to the shortstop, Starlin Castro. Fielder's choice. That goes 3-6.
And no RBI for McGee. Garrett Jones now. Shift is on. And a called strike. It's 0-1. So 1-0 Miami lead. 0 for 6 last night was Jones with 3 strikeouts. And the Cubs snared one of his balls out in shallow right field. Out there right now is Darwin Barney. Yesterday the Cubs put their third baseman Mike Olt out there where Barney stands. About as deep as you'll find an infielder in the game.
That splitter he'll probably use a little bit more to the lefties. We've seen some really interesting alignments in this series and also the Pirates series.
Michael tweets in. It's our first tweet of the night. Hit Tracker, which has all the great numbers about Stanton's home run, said that he had an apex of 48 feet. So at its very height, it was 48 feet. Michael disagrees. He thinks that Rizzo could have caught it. Here's a 1-2. And guess what? There's Barney waiting on it. Just like he was waiting on the bus, and it arrived on one hop. Miami gets a run and leads at 1-0. On an email and Twitter Tuesday, there's the hashtag new fish. It's one of the subjects tonight, but you can ask us anything. You can email us the old-fashioned way, foxmarlins@gmail.com, foxmarlins@gmail.com, or at foxmarlins on Twitter. We've got some emails. We'll dive right in as Starlin Castro digs in. His first look at Anthony DeSclafani. Nate Shearholt's junior leg for the Cubs in the second. DeSclafani, or Disco as his teammates call him, and a 1-2-3 first. Jim, our first email, we read a tweet. When are you going to start calling the Marlins Casey and the Sunshine Band?
You can get Casey and the Sunshine Band out here.
That's right. Well, McGee, and he's obviously referencing McGee. I've heard the mighty Casey, and of course from Anchorman, Hits McGee,
one of our favorites.
Veronica Corningstone's favorite player. Pitch misses down low from DeSclafani. Also, Jim wants to know, speaking of DeSclafani, what's your favorite disco song? We may have to ask the Contessa that as well. Allison Williams is with us tonight. 2-2 is fouled back to the screen.
Well, Castro's a hot hitter. We saw a little bit of that last night. 3 hits, the big 3-run homer. He's hitting 5 straight, 10 for 20. 10 hits and 20 at bats.
Castro got a hanging breaking ball and lost it. A 3-run homer yesterday, but he swings through that one. And he's out.
That time, DeSclafani, like he took a little bit off that breaking ball. It was a little slower, more of a curve, and really got Castro to go out of the zone. It's interesting, and we've talked about this in this day and age of baseball. The Cubs, I'm sure, even have video of minor league starts of DeSclafani. It's not like years ago you have to kind of check out a guy, see what he had, how his pitches move. But now guys can even get a look for pitchers that have come up in the minor leagues at some of their starts down there.
I got news for you, though, Tommy. It's not in HD. If you walk through the clubhouse of either team and a guy starting like for DeSclafani, or the other night the Marlins faced someone that had just made a minor league. Vance Worley.
They had some minor league footage of him.
And it was not in HD. I got news for you. Shear holds up. Junior Lake to follow. A lot of questions about Andrew Heaney. And so just to answer all the Andrew Heaney questions, we'll use John from Boca, who said, Tommy, what are your thoughts on Andrew Heaney? How can he help the Marlins? What do you expect Thursday night?
It's hard to give our thoughts. We know what he's done to prepare himself for his major league debut. We saw a little bit of him in spring training, but all the stuff we've read and heard and talking to him, he's a very confident young man. He has terrific stuff and should fit right in.
Fastball slider change. That's what Heaney throws. I think that hit Shearholtz in the foot. It did. He's on his way to first. DeSclafani, an 0-2 pitch that got away.
We were talking about that trade with the Toronto Blue Jays. There's the slider that gets away off that front foot of Shearholtz. And one of those guys involved, I don't think he's here. He's on the disabled list. But if he were here, he'd be in that Cubs dugout. Emilio Bonifacio.
Well, it's funny, that trade.
Travis had that question.
Yeah, that trade, and you can never judge trades until you're 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. Last year, it didn't look like the trade helped either club in terms of wins and losses on the field. That one is crushed. Junior Lake. Wow. A blast. It almost got to the Budweiser bar. And that 0-2 pitch that got away from DeSclafani really hurts now because Shearholtz scores in front of Junior Lake.
Well, Junior Lake is an all-or-nothing guy. We've talked about that. We saw him have a 2-homer game in Chicago. Dead fastball hitter, has one swing, but if you get it in his zone, he's going to crush it. And it was right in his zone, and he did crush it.
Here's Darwin Barney now. In the scouting report on DeSclafani, fastball command was stressed as not only being a strength but also being important for his success. There's a liner into right center field. Marisnick makes the catch. Tommy, watch the command and watch the target, and let's see how close he got to the target.
Target set up away from Real Muto, and the pitch is middle in. You get it away, he might hit it hard, but he's not going to hit it out the way he did.
Barney with a base hit, a rare base hit, his average under 200. And here is Eli Whiteside, who has struggled to get going offensively.
It was Jeff Mathis who caught DeSclafani's debut in L.A., but Real Muto and Disco certainly familiar with each other.
Wellington Castillo is the Cubs' everyday catcher. At least he is when he's not on the disabled list, and that's where he is now. John Baker caught last night, and Eli Whiteside gets the call tonight. And Whiteside gets his hands through and sends it into left field. And the Cubs have 3 consecutive hits. Still only 1 out. Here comes Samardzija.
Well, Whiteside's smiling because it's only his second hit. He was 1 for 19. You hate to get hurt with guys at the bottom of the lineup. Barney was 3 for his last 20, came in with a 190 average. Now Whiteside gets a base hit, and that sets it up for Samardzija to drop down a bunt. Be careful, though. He has 6 hits. Talked about his athletic ability.
Samardzija, while he was catching touchdown passes and breaking all the receiving records at Notre Dame, was also a first-team All-Big East pitcher. Back when Notre Dame was in the Big East. Runner goes. Big jump by Barney. Trail runner goes. And Real Muto had a shot at second and didn't throw it.
Inexperience on both parts. And DeSclafani allowing the lead runner, Barney, to get such a huge jump. And on Real Muto's part, not seeing the trail runner get a good jump at all.
Samardzija now in full swing mode, fouls it back. So it's all well and good to have new fish or new players. The Marlins, maybe with a little bit of youthful inexperience, hurting them here. The location on the DeSclafani fastball and the stolen base is there. And a pitch in, and it's 2-1. Infield is back. If Samardzija can put it in play up the middle, it would mean a run. For DeSclafani, he's trying to get out of this inning and limit it to just the Junior Lake 2-run homer. In the air, and should be deep enough. It will be deep enough. Marisnick makes the catch. Both runners tag. Whiteside going to third. Marisnick's throw is cut. Barney scores. Cubs make it 3-1. And it's Jeff Samardzija who drives in run number 3.
And that's how much that double steal hurt, setting up that situation. Give Samardzija credit. He gets a pretty good pitch to hit, too. Held high out over the plate. Deep enough that not only did Barney score, but Whiteside, who doesn't run well, was able to get to third.
See that shot right there? The importance, and Barney took a look over his shoulder. One of the things Barney was doing, he was making sure to see if Whiteside was running or not. And once he saw that Whiteside was running, it looked like Barney actually sped up because he didn't want Whiteside to get tagged out before he crossed the plate. We've seen that happen this year. Marlins actually were able to prevent a run. It's a heads-up play by Darwin Barney.
It's that Oregon State experience. Being in the College World Series, winning those series a couple of times.
Luis Valbuena is up right now. And Valbuena cranks one to right field. Stanton should have room. Boy, Cubs had some good swings in that second inning, and they come away with 3 runs and a 3-1 lead. The authority of the Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted. Any form, accounts, and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins. 3 runs for the Cubs against Anthony DeSclafani, 3-1. Chicago on top. Let's check in with Allison Williams. Hey, Dub, what you got going?
Well, guys, hashtag tonight is new fish for the Marlins. Batting second in this inning will be Jake Marisnick. Batting 7th tonight, but hit leadoff last night. Played very well for the Marlins. A couple of hits and a couple of stolen bases. Some things you should know about Marisnick if you didn't learn him last year when he was called up for the Marlins. He's from Riverside, California. He played in high school there. Was drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays in 2009, acquired by the Marlins in that big trade in 2012. You can follow him on Twitter, since it is an email Twitter Tuesday, at JS Marisnick. And his nickname, guys, Big Fudge, which fans may remember from last year. The story goes, when he broke his hand, he started to eat quite a bit when he couldn't play. Maybe not, put on a few pounds, and one of the guys in the clubhouse in the minors called out, "Hey, Big Fudge," and it stuck. So now he's got the dog, Little Fudge. He's Big Fudge, and back here with the Marlins for the first time this year, guys.
So wait a minute, he's got a dog named Little Fudge?
Yeah, he got the dog last year. Him and Yelly got it together before they were called up. It is Jake's dog, though, and I'm not sure who has Little Fudge now. I would imagine his parents back in California, but I know Andy Barkett for a while was keeping an eye on him, and the clubhouse guys, and team effort.
Marcell Ozuna swings and misses, and Big Fudge comes to the plate now, and Jake Marisnick. All right, thank you, Allie. Allie, what else is going on Twitter and such tonight? What have you seen? Any trends? I know new fish is the hashtag tonight.
Yeah, we're talking new fish, and I have to say my favorite tweet that has come in so far wasn't a question per se, but a photo, and it's a fan. I'm going to see if we can get it in the broadcast a little later. His license plate is new fish. How appropriate is that?
Very nice. It's a nice touch.
Here we go.
Oh, there it is. Look, the crack staff is really on it.
Crack staff on top of things tonight.
They got to bring their A game. It's email Twitter Tuesday.
Yeah,
They're on
they do.
it.
Even after a long night last night, they're on top of things.
Marisnick gets jammed, and he dumps it into center field for a base hit. And so Jake is aboard. JT Realmuto is coming up.
By the way, Rich, there's plenty of café con leche in the production truck. That's why they're on top of their game.
That's why they needed that desperately last night. A game that stretched, what was it, 4 hours and 40 minutes last night, 13 innings?
4:39, yeah.
I rounded up. Now Realmuto, and he's in the 8th spot. Then you've got DeSclafani. It's a spot you might think about running Marisnick. Heard Mike Redmond talk about Marisnick and the dynamics he adds with his speed. Samardzija to the plate, and it takes him a while to unwind. He's a big guy, as Samardzija, at 6'5", 225. Realmuto takes a strike. Both catchers went the distance last night, and as a result, both catchers getting tonight off. John Baker for the Cubs, Jeff Mathis for Miami.
The slider is working pretty well tonight so far for Samardzija. Talked about it early on. Using that, I think, a little bit more this year than his splitter.
His contract is up, or at least he reaches free agency at the end of next year. He's got one more year of arbitration. And so for the Cubs, all the trade talk, they feel if they're really into stockpiling talent, trade him now and get the most that they can for him. But you know what? If the Cubs feel like they're close, Tommy, and they've got offense coming, why not lock Samardzija up and have him pitch on the north side for a good long time?
Well, and he's certainly a guy, a top of the rotation, number 1, number 2 guy that you wouldn't mind locking up. Certainly if he chooses to accept an offer and stay with the Cubs.
Marisnick is running. Real Muto shoots it out to short. Castro a backhand flip and gets him. And so there are 2 outs. Aside from great hands, good over the middle, and on third down he's usually a dependable receiver. What are the other scouting reports?
I think he'll take a hit too. Compact delivery for big guy, excellent splitter. But how long will he be a Cub? We don't know. We've been talking about that. Cub fans, I'm sure, are curious as well. Yeah, 27 career touchdown catches for the Irish.
Remember, DeSclafani had an RBI hit. He actually had 2 RBIs in Los Angeles. And Samardzija throws about 96-mile-an-hour fastball.
He had RBI on a ground out and an RBI on a base hit.
Samardzija, it looks like, is just going to rear back and see if DeSclafani can catch up to 96.
Last time out for Samardzija, he caught up to that hot Pittsburgh team, and he lost 4-0.
So he's thrown 3 pitches. They've all been 96 miles an hour.
You know, when he first came up, the Cubs used him out of the bullpen. There were some who thought this is a guy that could be an outstanding closer.
Three and 1. That was just out. Samardzija struck a pose there, thinking he would get it. Rafael Furcal, who singled back in the first and scored, is on deck. That one, a strike. You can see where pitch number 4 was. That was just off. So you would expect another fastball at 96. And it's out. And so Furcal gets a swing here, with runners first and second and 2 outs.
Now, you love to take advantages of just little mistakes by the opposition. So Samardzija leaves the door open, allows Furcal to come up, and a chance to add on, get a run, and get a little bit closer. Yeah, that might have been a strike.
Well, that low, I mean, the edge of the ball on the corner and at the bottom of the knees. That's a call that certainly went Miami's way, and you're right. Let's see if Miami can take advantage of the break. Furcal's base hit. Hit hard to center field. Got good speed at second.
All of a sudden now Samardzija getting a visit from his third baseman, Luis Valbuena.
Changeup, and it misses away, and it's 2-0. And he popped him foul. It's going to get out of play. Rafael Furcal hitting leadoff tonight. Miami down 3-1. Samardzija evens the count at 2-2. Runs the count full at 3-2. It gives Marisnick a head start from second. He, with his speed, doesn't really need it. You see Echeverria on deck. But it also means DeSclafani will be running from first. Outfield not deep at all and swung towards left center for the switch hitting Rafael Furcal. Runners on the move. 3-2 coming. Struck him out. Samardzija came in, caught the corner, and the Marlins lead 2. And that was right on the heart of the plate. The third. A shout out to send your fan photo in. FL Fan Photo is the hashtag. Tweet it out. It's brought to you by AT&T. And you'll have a chance to appear later in the telecast. Just like Craig Minervini, although Craig is coming up right now.
Thank you very much, Rich. Familiar name, certainly part of the story of Cubs-Marlins 2014 edition. There's so many ex-players on the opposing sides. We don't have Bonifacio in this series with the DL, but Justin Ruggiano, one of the former Marlins on the Cubs. So we thought we'd take a little look at some ex-Marlins after they were with either Miami or Florida. How did they do when they returned against their team? The all-time leading hitter is Paul LaDuca, 385, minimum 50 at-bats against the Marlins. Maven, who you know has been a Marlin killer. Kilvio Veras may be a surprise on that list, 358. How about our pal Alex Arias, who could be watching, 343, and Moises Alou at 327. The most hits out of anybody, Mike Piazza, after a short stint with the Marlins, 96 hits against the Fish.
I don't know.
That one doesn't really count.
Yeah, I know it doesn't. That's why I changed the list to the highest average. You're absolutely right. Billy McMillan. This one shouldn't count either. Billy McMillan at 450, the highest average, 9 for 20.
That's like if you did the list of closers who had the most saves against the Marlins after they left.
Yeah.
Trevor Hoffman.
Not fair.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Mike Piazza may be watching too, though.
267 lifetime. Two other names on the list that were interesting. Edgar Renteria, 88 hits against the Marlins, and Gary Sheffield, 75 hits against the Fish.
I wonder how many hits Livan Hernandez had against the Fish after he left.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, I bet you a pretty good number. All right.
Good change up there, and this is an important inning, I think, for DeSclafani to just reestablish and show that he can move his fastball around and mix things up a little. So that first pitch to Rizzo was a good one.
He had I don't want to say a heated discussion, but a very serious discussion with Mike Redmond between innings when he came in after getting lit up in the second with a 2-run homer by Junior Lake and a couple more hits after that. And I would think, Tommy, it was either location or you're going to have to change your pattern here.
Well, and also you would hope that Real Muto would be in on that conversation. And there may have been a part of that conversation that says, look, I need you for 6 tonight. I don't want to go to that bullpen again so early.
Breaking ball, swing and a miss. Anthony Rizzo strikes out. And then they'll bring up Starlin Castro. Let's get into the tweets and the emails, shall we? Into the tweets.
We're getting some love from Moose Jaw, by the way, too.
I know. Well, that was
from last night.
Canada night was last night. Mac wants to know, what does Stanton do with the load of sunflower seeds in his mouth when he's fielding a fly ball in the outfield? Well, a lot of guys will put just a big load of sunflower seeds in their mouth and put it between the cheek and gum, almost the way players used to put tobacco in their mouth.
You know, it used to be great, and they're becoming extinct. Or back in the day when there were all the AstroTurf fields, and you would see an outfielder, you'd know exactly where he played because you'd see a whole bunch of seeds on the turf.
Here's Castro, the 0-1. Swing and a miss. Michael wants to know, you mentioned Dietrich's hitting well in New Orleans. How about his defense? And that's Mike in the Georgia Mountains. Of course, Dietrich, a Georgia Tech player. All the reports are good on Dietrich right now.
Yeah, they are. And it's certainly something he's working on. A little softer with the hands.
Struck him out. Castro.
Terrific comeback inning.
Whatever Mike Redmond said, Anthony DeSclafani was able to take it back out on the field. And a 1-2-3 third. Third. Tomorrow's an afternoon game. Remember, it's a 12:40 start, and it's a Crazy 8 Wednesday. If you visit a participating Chevron, fill up with Chevron with Techron gasoline. Bring your ticket to the ticket office. Get up to 60% off lower level tickets. Echeverria bounces it into center field. A base hit, and Miami has their leadoff man aboard here in the third. Giancarlo Stanton, Casey McGee, and Garrett Jones also scheduled to appear. 3-1, Cubs on top.
How about Edge? 2 for 2, 6-game hitting streak. He kind of has settled into the number 2 spot right here.
Rob tweets in, Echeverria, a fixture at the 2 spot in the order, in your opinion?
I wouldn't rule it out. I think there's a time in his career where he could be. He certainly can control the bat a little bit. He runs well enough.
And he's on his way to second now.
To hit in that spot. Wouldn't rule it out, but you also like to see Christian Yelich there against a right-hander if Yelich were healthy right now.
I think if Yelich were healthy, that's where he would be, even against a lefty, too. He hits lefties, or has hit lefties quite well. I think that's going to be a passed ball on Eli Whiteside, and it is.
All 4 base hits for the Marlins have been singles up the middle.
Stanton fouls it at the plate. Bobby has an interesting tweet. There's a look at Yelich. Good to see him continuing his treatment. Lower back feels better. Back to Samardzija. Good base running by Echeverria to get back to second. And Stanton is out.
Yeah, nice pick. Nice reception by Samardzija.
All of the sign stealing in baseball. Here's a look. All the sign stealing in baseball. Bobby wonders, how about for a hitter or a catcher, earphones like quarterbacks in football?
Let's not do everything like football. It's a different sport. Want me to rant? Not do it all like football. It's baseball.
See, Bobby, you have done what some people would term as push Hutton's buttons. McGee takes a breaking ball for a strike. McGee bounced into a fielder's choice back in the first. That was the play in which the return throw got away and allowed for Call to score. That's how Miami got its only run.
Casey just 2 for 12 now in his career against Samardzija.
Counts 0-2. JS tweets. In the pregame show, Conine mentioned that Sheffield used a 35-inch, 31-ounce bat. Is there a ratio limit, and what size does Stanton use?
Stanton's bat is not 35 inches. I don't think he uses that long of a bat. Probably 34, 34 and a half.
I would say Stanton's probably a 34-inch at 32 ounce.
Yeah,
maybe.
he uses a lighter bat than we would think.
But a good homework assignment for us.
But it certainly has worked.
Another one of those at bats where McGee falls behind 0-2, and now he's taken a couple to get back to 2-2. Echeverria, the runner at second. McGee gets out in front of that. 87-mile-an-hour off-speed pitch. Sends it into the upper reaches. McGee swings and misses. Samardzija with a strikeout of McGee. 4 strikeouts for the 29-year-old.
Yeah, the Marlins last night in their 13 innings struck out 17 times.
Garrett Jones now. Echeverria has been waiting at second. Stanton couldn't drive him in. McGee strikes out. have some Craig and Allison tweets. Stephanie wants to know what brand of shirt is Craig wearing. Mr. Red Shoes, on behalf of all of us in the behind the dugout. Jones with a high fly ball right field towards the line into the corner. Shearholtz is there and makes the catch. Our thanks for having Allison in the camera well instead of. Oh, that's not right. Come on. The Mets, it opens up at your local Subway restaurant. Get a voucher for a $5 ticket. Plus, seniors 55 and older can receive free tickets on Seniors Free Ticket Thursdays, presented by Wellmax Medical Centers. Go to Marlins.com today. And, of course, Thursday night, Andrew Heaney makes his Major League debut. So that's enough of a reason to get out here.
Absolutely.
You can also get that voucher for a $5 ticket from your local Subway. There's actually a Subway at Marlins Park now, right down by the entrance and the home plate garage. Subway had a meeting today. Tommy ducked in there, got a sandwich, got to the meeting.
It's always a good way to get to a meeting. Andrew Heaney's going to have lots of family, friends on hand for that Thursday night debut.
Nate Shearholtz, Junior Lake, Darwin Barney, a trio that gave DeSclafani trouble in the second. He was out in front of Shearholtz 0-2 and then hit him in the foot with a breaking ball, and then Junior Lake blasted one to left. Shearholtz lifts it to right. Stanton drifts back and makes the catch. An out, and here comes Junior Lake.
That pitch, that fastball that was supposed to be away, and it drifted middle in right into that happy zone for Junior
Lake. Brian has a catching question. No disrespect to other catchers, but why didn't the Marlins call up Rob Brantley when Jared Saltalamacchia went on the disabled list?
Good question. I think they just felt JT Realmuto was more suited for the call-up. Brantley's having an okay year. He's kind of been off and on. But that's a good question. That's one of those decisions the organization makes. They certainly like the athletic ability of JT.
And judging catchers, it's not as easy as just looking at offensive numbers and saying, let's get this guy up here. It's about handling pitchers, calling pitches.
I would say that went into it a lot.
And Real Muto has come a long way very quickly in the Marlins organization. 2-1. Foul back to the screen.
You see how hard Junior Lake swings. That's why his shirt never stays in, I guess. But he doesn't hold back. And, well, that's an old school thought. He just wouldn't swing that way years ago.
You've already had one rant. I think you get one rant for every 2 innings. So next inning, you can go off on something if you want. 2-2. Bouncer to third. McGee cuts it off. He gets the out at first.
Well, the flap came out of the shirt. That's what slowed him up.
Nick wants to know, Tommy, what's your favorite Tony Gwynn story?
You know, I just mentioned a little bit last night. It's having our careers never crossed paths because I was through playing when Tony made his debut. But over the years, I saw him play so many games. And the story I had was just how he was with people. And I told him last night how he was with my son one night, who wanted to ask him a couple questions about hitting. And like 40 minutes later, they were still in there talking. And how great was that he spent that amount of time and just talking baseball and talking hitting.
Darwin Barney's at the plate, and DeSclafani gets him with a fastball into center field. Marisnick is there.
Another good inning.
Disco all of a sudden is snapped back to form. He has retired 8 in a row. Sponsor of Tuesday Night Baseball by Palmetto 57 Nissan and Palmetto 57 Volkswagen, home of your money-back guarantee, and by the Florida Department of Transportation, reminding you to drive sober or get pulled over. Emails and tweets on a Tuesday night in Miami. Marcelo Zuna coming to the plate. We head down to Allison Williams. Hey, Dub.
Hey there, guys. We had a tweet asking what size bat Giancarlo Stanton uses. For a while, Marcelo Zuna was actually stealing Stanton's bat during several ABs. He uses a 34-inch, 32-ounce bat is what Giancarlo Stanton has finally settled in and prefers. And Ozuna will grab it from him from time to time. Guys will do that a lot. Giancarlo said he did it when he was a younger player as well. When he was coming up with Hanley Ramirez and Dan Uggla, he'd grab their bat, go take a few hacks with that, see if there are any hits in those. And we discuss all the different nuances that go into choosing what size, what type, what style of bat you prefer. In the latest Inside the Marlins in this swing, Giancarlo goes into it at length, how he settled on the 34-inch, 32-ounce bat.
What was the, Allie, and you were there for that round table, what was the deciding factor? for a guy like Stan who's so big and so strong. I think we saw that with the McGuire and some of those power hitters, that less is more. They all went a little lighter than you thought.
For him, it's all about quickness. And when he was young, people did say maybe you should try a heavier bat. We still see it today, how often he breaks bats. But for him, it's about quickness. He feels like he has more speed with the lighter bat. And obviously, whatever he's swinging, it's working.
Just to make the comparison, we know how large Giancarlo is. 5'10", 175. I use the 34-inch, 32-ounce bat. Guys use a little lighter bats nowadays.
You almost have to now, facing the velocity that is in the game today, right?
Yeah, there are many more harder throwers nowadays, without question. And because of that, that's why you see so many bats broken nowadays.
Ozuna, Marisnik, Real Muto in the fourth. Jeff Samardzija has a 3-1 lead.
We've had a lot of these tweets, Rich. This one from Jacob. When Yelich gets healthy and returns, which outfielder will sit? Well, that's one of those questions that usually just works out.
Ozuna works a walk. He doesn't walk often, so notable that it's a leadoff walk here in the fourth. By all accounts, Yelich's back injury is not going to keep him out any longer than the 15-day disabled list.
I think it's probably one of those injuries that he'll be ready in a week, but you just can't play a week's worth of games with one man short on the bench, and that's the unfortunate thing.
So Marisnik gets the benefit of a couple weeks at the very least. Takes a breaking ball outside. Coors Light cold hard facts. Yesterday the Marlins moved 8 players on their roster. The club record 13 on July 11, 2002 includes an 8-player 3-team deal with the Reds and the Expos. Jeff Nelson
had a little conversation with the Cubs dugout. I think he said something like enough of the play-by-play over there.
Marisnik into left field. He's got a pair of hits tonight. Marisnik 2 for 2, and he was all over that pitch. And here comes Real Muto.
It's the second time tonight now that the Marlins have gotten men on first and second with nobody out. They did that in the first inning. Were able to get a run. So good swing by Jake Marisnik. 2 hits last night. Already has 2 tonight.
And you're in a spot here now, Tommy, where with DeSclafani on deck, this is the action hitter. This is the big hitter in this inning. You obviously would like Real Muto to keep the line moving. If he fails to do so, then you have DeSclafani to at least try to move runners up and give Furcal a shot. Miami just 2 for 12 last night with runners in scoring position. 0 for 6 already tonight. Samardzija has walked 2, including DeSclafani in his only at bat.
Just checking with Real Muto up there, checking yesterday up in Jupiter for the Hammerheads. Jared Saltalamacchia caught the entire game, was 2 for 4. I would imagine he'll catch a couple more games and he should be ready.
Real Muto fouls it off, and it's a ball and a strike. Mike Redmond today on Marlins Live talking about the value of coming up and getting some experience in the big leagues and then coming back. And even Marisnik quoted and talked about it. Marisnik talking about the fact that his second time to the big leagues is a lot easier for him. So you would think for Real Muto, Tommy, this taste of the big leagues, whether it's 2 or 3 weeks, will benefit him in the long run.
Absolutely, and that's such a great point. It's hard that first time. Eyes wide open, a lot of unfamiliar territory.
Counts 1-2. Tapper, Samardzija bobbles the ball, drops it, picks it up, safe. Everybody's safe. You see Samardzija asking Rizzo if he thought he was out or safe. It was close. It was bang bang.
Well, we've talked about Real Muto, how he has good athletic ability, runs pretty well. This is a guy who's a good athlete himself. He just bobbles that ball, and I believe the throw was not in time. So they're trying to.
That doesn't look like they're going to challenge it. No one's budging for
Everybody out in the field wants a call, but Rick Renteria is saying, no, go for 2.
And here comes DeSclafani now. Bags loaded, nobody out. And a Marlin at every base for the pitcher. DeSclafani had a good at bat in the second. He walked.
Remember, he got a lot of fastballs, too. See if he's ready for that first fastball. He was hacking at it.
Cubs have 2 errors in the ball game. The throwing error by Castro on that potential double play in the first, and then Samardzija's bobble here. Little tapper. It's a fair ball out at the plate and out at first.
Well, that's one of the worst things that could happen in that situation. Not a thing you can do about it. Try to hit the ball on top. Makes it easy for Whiteside. He steps on home plate, gets the double play. Wow.
And so just like that, bases loaded, nobody out. It's second and third and 2 outs. And for Call, who has singled and struck out, comes up.
Kind of took the air out of the crowd, too. Don't panic. For Call's up there. You have to answer Joe Andrews' tweet. We always do. What's the reason that there are times you don't broadcast on certain days, like tomorrow?
Because Tommy and I occasionally need a spa day. And it's in our contract. Here's the 1-0. Bouncer up the middle into center field, base hit. Have no fear, Rockies here. And 2 come across. Call saves the day, saves the inning. And a 3-3 ball game.
Well, you're right about that, because it was a real downer after that double play. And Rafael Furcal just came up with a huge 2-out, 2 RBI single right back up the middle, very similar to where his first hit was. He came into this game, he was 0 for 6 in his career against Samardzija, but 2 for 3 tonight.
And Chavarria now. So 3-3 ball game.
And you know who feels good about that too? Anthony DeSclafani.
Absolutely. Junior Lake's 2-run homer is probably still ringing in his ears. And then the little tapper that turned into 2. See if maybe Furcal is on the move. the answer to the tweet why the game is not on television tomorrow on Fox Sports Florida. We televise 150 of the 162. A variety of other games appear on other networks. A couple were on Sun Sports against the Rays. Marlins had a game on Fox Sports 1. So there is on occasion a game that is not on Fox Sports Florida, and that would be tomorrow. There goes for call, and Chavarria fouls it off.
I think I did see where the MLB network is going to pick up the Cubs broadcast tomorrow.
Well, there you go. So you should be able to pick it up on the MLB network. We will be back on Thursday night for Andrew Heaney's Major League debut against the Mets and Zach Wheeler. 0-2. Echeverria, a pair of base hits. Miami has 6 hits, and they have all been singles. Jeremy has an interesting tweet. In a few years, Yelich, Stan, Marisnik, or Ozuna, any of them move to first base?
It's a good question. If all 4 are progress, continue to get better, the likely choice would be Yelich.
There's a liner to center field. Base hit for Call, turns and heads to third.
How about the top of the order tonight? For Call, 2 for 3. Adeiny Echeverria, 3 for 3. All base hits right up the middle.
And it gives Stanton a shot with runners at the corners.
Boy, that's beautiful. Second baseman Darwin Barney going over. I don't think he would have gotten it either way. And that base hit chases for Call the third.
Now he's moving quite well.
Yeah, he is. You know, Yelich actually played first base in high school. See, he did not have much of an arm. He really worked on it as a professional and has gotten better with it.
Now Stanton, and Samardzija has handled Stanton. He struck him out. Stanton bounced back to the mound. Pitch misses outside. The Marlins opening play at 35 and 34. Certainly a really good story in baseball this year are the Fish. Another great story, the Kansas City Royals, who are beating Detroit right now 7-2 in the bottom of the 4th inning. Kansas City has won 8 in a row, and if they win this ball game, they'll take over first place in the Central.
How about the fact that they beat up on Justin Verlander in the ball game last night, and they're putting a beating on Max Scherzer tonight.
Counts 1-1.
How about these numbers for Giancarlo? He has now played 162 games here at Marlins Park.
Look at the home runs.
That's incredible.
In a ballpark that may be the toughest in baseball to hit homers.
Average is over 300. 45 doubles. The OPS over 1,000.
Is this I haven't, and we've got a baseball historian, John Chimchuk, here, who we could put to work. Is this a tougher place to homer than a place like Petco, San Diego? 1-2. Stanton swings and misses. Samardzija has handled him. Miami draws even. Rafael for Call does the deed. 3-3.
Tying this ball game up at 3 as we go here to the 5th inning. Well, when he was with the Marlins, he was Rich Renteria, but of course he is now Rick Renteria. And congratulations getting this managerial job. Spent a lot of years in the minor leagues. He started his managerial career, in fact, in the Marlins organization, leading Brevard County, the Manatees, in 1998. But he was known, of course, as the secret weapon when he played with the Marlins, the first-year Fish in 93. Had a good year, as you could see, and hit, in fact, 347 runners in scoring position. Then he played a little in 94, and Jeff Conine was telling me it was a big spring training that got Renteria to the club. He hit around 500, hit a grand slam in the last spring game, which was played at Old Dolphin Stadium against Colorado. I talked with Rick about it. He said, great memories, packed house. It was fun for me. He'd been out of major leagues for 3 or 4 years and then returned and got a chance to play 2 years with the Fish. Exciting times. Coined, we believe, I think this is true, Tommy, by Jay Randolph, the secret weapon. And he was for the Fish.
You know, his pinch hitting numbers weren't that great, but when he got in a game, he would be that secret weapon and get big hits. Yeah, I can picture Jay Randolph giving him that.
The secret weapon.
Jeff Samardzija at the plate. Craig, we've had a few tweets about your shirt.
Yes.
Fans want to know what the brand is of your shirt.
Maybe Allison can help me over here. I don't know. Well, let's do this off camera, and then you can. I don't know. Can you see it? Well, you can't see it. Hold on. We'll come back to it.
I had no idea it would dissolve to that there.
If you really want the answer.
Samardzija fouls it off.
We're just impressed that it looks nice and ironed.
Just say Nordstrom's and we'll move on.
How about Nordstrom's?
All right. Hey, good shirt. Good choice.
They don't ask about my pants now. This is getting crazy.
Samardzija at the plate. Luis Valbuena will follow. Samardzija drove one to deep center to knock in a run in the 3-run second. After that inning, Anthony DeSclafani, I'm sure he had a chat with Chuck Hernandez. We saw him having a chat with his manager, Mike Redmond. Since then, he's been a changed pitcher.
Well, there are a couple of things. His fastball has been located much better, and he's made good pitches with that breaking ball. And we also saw him throw a couple of change-ups to Anthony Rizzo.
Allison Williams, you've got more on the guy they call Disco.
Yeah, we moved on from Craig's shirt. Back on the field here. How about this for hashtag new fish?
That's
Tony
great.
DeSclafani going to Colts Neck Prom with his high school teammates Frank and Joe. So our thanks to Anthony Piazza for tweeting that photo and a little throwback photo of new fish. DeSclafani.
Good stuff. Looking good in the tux.
You never know what's going to surface on social media.
That scares me every once in a while, you know.
You see the first pitch strikes from DeSclafani. Valbuena steps out. He's popped out and lined out. Driven left center. It's deep. Marisnik in full flight. Won't get it. Hops off the wall. Ozuna bare hands. And Valbuena will settle for a double. Snaps a string of 10 in a row set down.
Well, you have some pretty good speed out there in Marcell Ozuna and Jake Marisnik. Marisnik was shading a little bit into right center, had a long way to go. So if neither of those guys can catch up to that, it had a lot of hang time, but neither was able to get there. Be a long way for Marisnik as well as for Ozuna.
Now Ruggiano. Pair of fly ball outs to center for the former Marlin.
Talked to Ruggiano a little bit yesterday. Said he has a place. He's living a few blocks from Wrigley. It's been a nice place for his family. A little school. Said he doesn't even need a car.
2-1. Joy. I believe that's Joy Taylor. Seeing Zaslow on 790. She's wearing her Marlins jammies, watching Hits McGee and recovering from the plague. It might be in reference to the heat.
Or it may be in reference to what our producer John Sulcer is going through.
Our producer John
We
Sulcer
wish him well, by
is
the way.
under the weather and hopefully feeling better. Tim McDermott has been called up from Marlins Live. So he fits right in with the hashtag new fish. Fastball in, and Ruggiano walks, and now DeSclafani has to deal with Rizzo. 2 outs, runners first and second.
Yeah, you just don't want to let this get away. DeSclafani's first walk of the game. He hit a batter earlier. But after 2 quick outs, then the double, now a walk. So you want to really shut it down, but he's going to have to work. He's handled Rizzo pretty well so far.
So a pair of Cubs aboard. DeSclafani's nice run interrupted here in the 5th. He gets a strike on Rizzo, whom he has handled twice. Rizzo struck out twice. And a break for DeSclafani, looking at that pitch on Fox Tracks.
We're talking, Rich, about the Tigers and Kansas City. Detroit has gotten a little production as of late from another local kid, J.D. Martinez. Hit a grand slam last night for the Tigers out of Nova Southeastern. Doing a nice job.
He had the first home run in Marlins Park history as a Houston Astro, right?
Yeah, they signed him, and he was in Toledo in AAA for just 17 games, but he hit 10 home runs. And brought him up to the big leagues. He's sitting around 270, has 4 home runs. So J.D. Martinez has found a nice home with Detroit.
I would suspect he and Anthony Rizzo's paths crossed in youth baseball here in South Florida.
That's what got me thinking of it, yeah.
1-2. Breaking ball pulled foul. George tweets in. Marlins 3rd round pick Brian Anderson hit 2 homers in his first 2 games for Batavia. Zach wants to know what happened to Chris Coughlin. He tore the Marlins up in Chicago. Coughlin is here. Ryan Sweeney is off the DL. He got the start last night. Coughlin did pinch hit. 1-2, liner left field. Well hit. Ozuna in, back there, and makes the catch. Kind of a bit of a circle route, but he got there. And that's the important thing in a 3-3 game. 4-game series starts on Thursday and on Friday at 7:10. It's a fireworks Friday. Remember the happy hour at the Budweiser Bowtie Bar. $4 domestic drafts from 5:30 to 6:30. Stay after the game. Big fireworks display. Marlins Mets. Always fun when the Marlins and the Mets get together. It's a 4-gamer. On Thursday night, Andrew Heaney makes his Major League debut and starts against the Mets. Miami to work now against Jeff Samardzija in the bottom of the 5th. Casey McGee, Garrett Jones, Marcell Ozuna.
You realize, Rich, these two franchises come into this game tonight. The Marlins are 85 and 85 against the Chicago Cubs.
Of course, if you add postseason games in, Tommy, the Marlins would be 1 game ahead of the Cubs, right?
I like where you went with that.
They would have 4 more wins to their total and 3 more losses to their total. We've had a few tweets from a fan apparently wearing a Bartman jersey here at Marlins Park. Here's a 1-2 to McGee. Samardzija dialed up 97.
Yeah, we've seen him at 96 a few times, and he gave a little extra on that fastball.
Prestige wants to know, how does Foxtrax compute the strike zone and account for the height of the batter? My dad wants to know. Well, I'd love to look at the Foxtrax on this one. I don't know that it would register. That would have hit the Durham Bull.
Wow.
It looked like a changeup that just slipped out of his hand.
It wasn't a fastball. I don't know if I've seen one miss that badly in a while.
So is it low and away now after that one? Line foul. Foxtrax is actually adjusted for the height of the batter. Each batter has its own unique strike zone. That's pitch 5. Was the one that went behind McGee. So it is adjusted for each batter's height. 3-2. It's outside. McGee walks and he skips down to first. So a leadoff walk here in the 5th inning.
Case McGee's been much more patient on this pitch tonight than Giancarlo Stanton has.
And that is a ball. You can see it's off of Foxtrax. The Foxtrax technology is adjusted for McGee's individual height. Is the same technology and essentially the same grid and program that the umpires are graded on. So at the end of the night, the home plate umpire will get a report card as to his strike zone and how he did. A good night, 95, 96%. A great night, 97, 98%.
Now you have a taller hitter in Garrett Jones.
Count is 1-0. And as well, it's important to note that the strike zone, both in the rule book and on Foxtrax with the technology, measures the ball when it crosses the front of the plate. Jones hits a grounder into the shift. That's a scramble. No one's at second, and they're not going to get the double play.
See, that time the shift hurt them. If not for a shift, they would have been able to turn a double play. But because it was a scramble to decide who covered second base.
Well, you had Valbuena, who does play second, moving to his right.
He initially went after the ball, though, then had to retreat and go back to the bag.
And he got clipped on the slide by McGee. Now Ozuna has struck out and walked. That's a makeshift Bartman jersey, though.
Got the headphones.
Got the headphones on and
Cubs
the glasses
hat.
and the Cubs hat. Leave the poor guy alone, huh? Ball and a strike.
Sitting next to Puig, if you noticed.
Pitch misses away. It's 2-1. Long look down to Brett Butler. Butler out early today with 3 hitters working on bunting. Rafael Furcal and Eddie Echeverria and Jake Marisnick. We saw Marisnick shorten a bunt early in the ball game. 2-1 coming.
And we've seen Echeverria drop down a few bunt base hits this year.
Ozuna got a piece of both the ball and of Eli Whiteside.
Occasionally, Samardzija will run a fastball in. For the most part, he has stayed away with the fastball, with the slider, especially to the right-handed hitters.
Struck him out. Ozuna called out on strikes. And with 2 outs, here comes Marisnick.
Dropped in a beauty there. Good slider. Good location and fooled Ozuna. He knew it was a strike.
Now Marisnick, who has a pair of hits. He singled in the second, singled in the fourth. A lot of fashion at emails coming in a flurry after we were asked about the brand of Craig's shirt. Here's the 0-1. The truth was, Craig, during the break, went back into the dressing room and checked. Men's Warehouse, the brand. Or at least that's what I was told. Allie, is that true?
Well, he had me trying to look at the tag on it, which is not readable without some work. So he said, "Oh, I got it at Men's Warehouse." I'm like, well, that's all you need to tell him.
Breaking ball misses outside.
He's modeling down here, by the way.
A lot of fans in pajamas after we had. Yeah. Don't quit your day job.
This is what happens when Salser isn't here.
Marisnick with a count 2-1. Pulls it on the ground third. Valbuena flips it to Barney at second. Marlins done in the 5th. 5 innings in. Cubs and Marlins 3-3. Disco night. Marlins Park. Cubs, Marlins. Anthony DiSclafani getting the start, a.k.a. Disco. Cast
a little Donna Summer.
Cast of thousands here for this one. Hashtag new fish is the hashtag for tweets, and we'll take emails tonight. There's the Twitter handle. We'll throw up the email address as well if you want to get a hold of us on email. In this ball game, Jeff Samardzija and Anthony DiSclafani in a 3-3 tie. This has a feel of last night's ball game, which was 4-4 from the 6th inning on and on and on into the 13th. There's the email address.
Well, the Cubs, all their scoring in the 2nd inning, and 3 of their 4 hits in the 2nd inning.
That is by a diving McGee, and Starlin Castro opens up the 6th with a double.
Well, he got a hanging breaking ball last night for a 3-run homer. He gets a hanging breaking ball here and jumps on it and smokes it past Casey McGee. Wasn't so much hanging, meaning up, but it just floated on the inner part of the plate. They wanted that pitch away. 20th double this year already for Castro.
Here comes Nate Shearholtz, an emailer, not trying to be the angry emailer of the night, but oftentimes Tommy mentions an important inning. But isn't every inning important?
Yeah, they are. They are. Some have more importance than others.
Shearholtz lifts it left field. Tagging is Castro. And Ozuna with a strong arm makes the catch and fires it in. There's a PS on that email, actually. It says, I do understand the important inning means because of the shift in game tension, but I just wanted to hear Tommy rant.
No rant needed there.
We gave it a shot. No television tomorrow. It's a 12:40 start. South Florida Honda Dealers brings you Marlins Live. Andrew Heaney's Major League debut. We're back on the air Thursday night at 6:30. Mets are in for 4. We've had a lot of emails about the DiSclafani at bat, which resulted in the double play back in the 4th inning. That's going to stay fair with the English on the ball, and DiSclafani is over, and he's there to get the out. And Tommy, the emails, I'll read Vicky's. She's from Indiantown, Florida. With DiSclafani, would it be better to have a guy like DiSclafani take pitches with the bases loaded? The worst that could happen would be a strikeout, no double play.
Well, yeah, if you do that, you wouldn't have gotten the RBI as he produced in L.A. when he hit a ground ball, got an RBI. When he had a base hit, had an RBI. So, no. What do they say? You know what happens once in a while.
Well, you play the result sometimes. Darwin Barney now. Barney has singled and flied out. So DiSclafani gets Junior Lake, who hit the 2-run homer back in the 2nd. Barney, little second baseman. Great glove, Gold Glove, Fielding Bible Award winner. With the Cubs still waiting for his bat to come around.
By the way, Rich, we have to send out our congratulations to Nathan and Rebecca Evaldi. Jace Carter Evaldi. And Nathan, of course, will be pitching in the afternoon game tomorrow. So all went well in Texas. Jace Carter. And our congratulations.
Evaldi on his way back tonight. That one almost clipped Castro. Evaldi opens, or rather Evaldi tomorrow against Jake Arrieta. Heaney opens the Mets. Henderson Alvarez on Friday, Tom Kohler on Saturday, and DiSclafani on Sunday. Anderson Alvarez against Daisuke on Friday night. 2-1. Arnie pops it into shallow center. Marisnik is in, and he makes the catch. And DeSclafani, after giving up the 3 runs in the second, has held it right there in a 3-3 game. Miami tonight. The Florida Panthers have the #1 pick in this year's NHL draft. Tune in Wednesday. Fox Sports Florida debuts a summer episode of Inside the Panthers. It's Inside the Panthers Wednesday at 7:30. Jeff Samardzija delivers. JT Realmuto takes a strike. We check in with Allison Williams. Hey, Dub.
Guys, tonight we are talking new fish for the Marlins. JT Realmuto, a fairly new fish, was recalled from AA at the beginning of the month. Made his debut against Tampa on June 5th. So a few things you should know about JT. He was born in Midwest Oklahoma, drafted by the Marlins back in 2010. Now, we know him as JT. That's pretty much all we refer to in addressing him, but his real name is actually Jacob Tyler, which JT is short for. He said the story goes, when he was playing Little League, there were so many other Jakes and Jacobs, it got confusing because he would look every time his name was called. So his dad started calling him JT in Little League, and from then on out, everything he did sports-wise, he was known as JT. To his family, though, he is still Jacob. But for our purposes and for everything he's done on baseball and football, very big football player in high school as well, it's been JT.
And I'm sure when his parents were angry at him, it was the long version, wasn't it? Realmuto swings and misses. And so Samardzija gets a strikeout to open the 6th. DeSclafani now. You know, both the managers probably looking at their lineup card, a 3-3 game, starters pitching here in the 6th. Saw that the Cubs had their bullpen active. That was just in case Samardzija's spot came up.
We talked about Samardzija earlier in the game. He's gone 6 or more innings, 11 of 14 starts. 9 times he's gone 7 or more innings. And for DeSclafani, he's at 91 pitches. So he gets the at bat here, and I'm sure Mike Redmond wants to get one more good inning out of Disco.
Ball and a strike. DeSclafani had a breaking ball and missed it. course, the All-Star game on July 15th is on Fox. An emailer emails in. If you guys could choose a broadcast team for the All-Star game from when you were a fan or a kid, who would you choose?
You and I could probably put a couple of our favorites together.
Here's the 2-2. Let's see if Disco can run. Barney's throw just got him. Speaking of All-Star game on Fox, July 15th. There's your balloting and your voting right now. The update, Giancarlo Stanton right now running third and still in the outfield, but if you want him to start, he's going to need some help. Go to MLB.com through the 3rd of July and vote. Might want to drop a few votes Casey McGee's way. David Wright is the leader at third.
You know, you'd look at those and you certainly don't have any arguments. So the fans doing a pretty good job. But yeah, you certainly want Giancarlo to start the All-Star game. So keep those votes coming. Had a tweet from Ryan excited about the signing of Tyler Kolek. Can't wait till he's ready. One thing fans in this area can do, you can check in up in Jupiter at Roger Dean, maybe a Hammerheads game. And in Kolek's case, he's going to be pitching for the Gulf Coast Marlins. They play morning games. They play in the afternoon. You can find out maybe if he's pitching and go up and check him out.
So who's your All-Star broadcaster?
Well, I'd have to go with Vin Scully because that's who I grew up with in Los Angeles.
You get to choose an analyst too. Who's your analyst?
Let me think on that.
You can choose yourself. I mean,
no, that's not right.
50 years in baseball for you.
I will go with Jim Cotton.
That's a good call.
Yeah.
I had the pleasure of working with him. That is going to go foul. I did not grow up as a kid wanting to be a broadcaster, so when I listened to guys, it wasn't, oh, I want to be like him.
Yeah, that's the same thing. Yeah.
And it wasn't until I stopped playing in college and got out of college that I tried to be a broadcaster. And I can remember it was 1986 and the American League Championship Series, I want to say Game 5, Al Michaels. It's one of the best,
excellent choice,
one of the best games and one of the greatest announcing jobs I've ever heard. Here's the 2-2. So if I had to go national broadcaster on a game, it was Michaels in that. It's a shame he hasn't called baseball all that much in the last 15 years or so.
Hey, he's had some other pretty good calls.
Yeah, he has. If it's a local guy, you know, Bill King, Lon Simmons were guys in where I grew up. They were both great. Strike 3 call, down goes Rafael for call. Samardzija, a strong 6th. On to the 7th. 3-3. 7th. Cubs and Marlins. Boys to Men. Tommy Hutton has got him on his iPhone, iPad. And they're in concert, and they're here at Marlins Park after Saturday's game against the Mets. It's a 4:10 start. And then after the game, a live concert on the West Plaza with legendary R&B group Boys to Men.
It's a good show. That's going to be a fun show.
It will be. Marlins.com. Don't miss Boys to Men on the 21st. Pitch comparison. Anthony DeSclafani ventures into the 7th. Eli Whiteside fouls it back. DeSclafani went 6 innings in Los Angeles against the Dodgers in his 13-3 win, 5 1/3 in the loss to the Phillies. If he can get through the 7th, he will have given Mike Redmond exactly what he wanted. But as we've seen, that last inning can be a big hurdle, and it certainly was for Tom Kohler yesterday when the Cubs put 4 runs up, including the 3-run homer by Starlin Castro in that 6th.
And notice that Chris Coughlin has moved into the on-deck circle for the Cubs.
We did have that, as you see, Sam Dyson in the Marlins pen. We did have that early email that none of us have answered, and that was favorite disco song. One was from Jim up in Massachusetts. You got one?
What was that? I was reading a tweet from Dylan.
Disco song. What was your favorite one? Was it Disco Inferno? Is it a Bee Gees tune?
Well, Bee Gees, you just name any one of those. I mentioned Donna Summer before.
I could just see you in the late 70s with the rest of your Philly teammates heading for a night on the town with those
and the bell bottoms going.
Bell bottoms. I think they were
the shirt with the collars, unbuttoned about 3 rows.
Weren't they called like Angel Flights? Big shoes.
No, I think those were illegal.
Big shoes, big collar, big fly left field. Ozuna back there, and he makes the catch.
The tweet from Dylan, just to get back to that. Talking about not having arguments on the All-Star ballot. You can always have arguments, but does David Wright belong? Not necessarily. Case McGee has better productive numbers, but David Wright's not a bad choice. That's basically what I'm saying. Yadier Molina was a catcher, not a bad choice, but Jonathan Lucroy having a much better year. So no problem, Dylan. We're all right with that.
You get carryover for your career oftentimes in All-Star voting. Chris Coughlin now. He will hit for Samardzija. So if DeSclafani can get through this the 7th, he will have done something that Samardzija was unable to do. Samardzija out of the game after pitching 6.
I'm sure Rick Renteria would have liked to have Samardzija go a little longer, but 110 pitches for him. It's enough for his 6 innings.
Coughlin lines it in the gap, and it falls, base hit. And that's what we saw Coughlin do in Chicago. His bat was coming to life in Chicago. And a liner to left center. Here comes Luis Valbuena now.
And that's just a perfect, typical Chris Coughlin swing. That line drive into left center.
And Mike Redmond's on his way out. And it looks like so is Anthony DeSclafani. This would be the 4th time through for Valbuena and Ruggiano. And Redmond is going to go to the bullpen. DeSclafani 99 pitches tonight, and he leaves in a 3-3 game. Cubs and Marlins. Upcoming schedule, broadcast schedule brought to you by Lexus of Pembroke Pines. No television tomorrow. Thursday night, Andrew Heaney's debut. 6:30 for Marlins Live. Likewise on Friday night. Saturday, of course, a 3:30 start to Marlins Live at 4:10 first pitch. And then the 4-game series and the homestand includes on Sunday 12:30 start for Marlins Live against the Mets. And here's Sam Dyson. Solid numbers with New Orleans.
Yeah, we saw Sam Dyson just a little bit last year. 5 games. He started a game. The University of South Carolina, actually a draft pick of the Toronto Blue Jays. Tommy John surgery 3 years ago. So his job to come in and shut things down, get a couple of outs here in the 7th inning.
And he gets Luis Valbuena and then Justin Ruggiano. DeSclafani 6 1/3. 6 hits, 3 runs, 5 strikeouts and a walk. Coghlan back in. Dyson misses outside. Dyson actually missed some time down in New Orleans. He and Chris Hatcher in a dust-up. Dyson with a broken jaw. Said the other day to reporters that everything between he and Hatcher has been worked out. Liner down the line. That's trouble. Stanton was in the gap. Headed for third is Coghlan. Up for the ball, Stanton. Here comes Coghlan to the plate. He's going to score. And the Cubs have their run. Luis Valbuena with an RBI double and a 4-3 lead just like that.
Boy, and the unfortunate thing, that run, 4th run, tagged onto the line of DeSclafani. Fastball right down the pipe. And Valbuena has swung a good bat a couple of games in this series. And with Stanton over a little in right center, we've seen that happen a couple of times. Once it gets in that corner, runners can score from first base.
Now Dyson has to try to keep it at 1 run. He's got Ruggiano and then Rizzo. So 4 runs, all of them earned on DeSclafani's line. Ball and a strike.
Last night the Cubs bullpen went 7 innings, gave up just 2 hits, no runs through 119 pitches. The Marlins bullpen in the 7 innings gave up 6 hits and only the 1 run, 112 pitches.
Two and 1. Miami's bullpen is quiet. Dyson in and in a big spot. The Marlins pen, just like the Cubs pen, used a lot last night.
Really over the last 4 games, with the number of time guys have gotten up, as far as getting in the games as well.
Of course, the Pittsburgh series was filled with games where the Marlins would fall behind, get short starts. Eovaldi 4 2/3, Wolf 4 innings. It wasn't until Alvarez went 7 innings on Sunday that the Marlins got a win, even though Alvarez didn't get the decision. McGee gets Ruggiano. A night where we're learning a little more about some of the new players. Tim Dyson, born in Tampa. Jesuit High School. That's where Lou Piniella went.
And you can see when he makes good pitches, he has real heavy sinker, lively fastball. It's in the 94, 95 range.
Now Rizzo. I think Miami is going to walk Rizzo. They will. Dyson was drafted, as you saw, by the Blue Jays. But the Marlins did not get him in that big trade with the Blue Jays. Marlins actually claimed him on waivers.
And you have to wonder, Rich, if Dyson will be expendable when Nathan Eovaldi is activated.
Eovaldi on the paternity list.
Well, Anthony Rizzo 0 for 8 in the series, but still respected there with his left-handed bat. But a guy who's been equally as hot, Starlin Castro, comes up. Don't make a mistake with that hanging breaking ball. That's what happened to Tom Kohler in the ball game last night.
Here's Castro again. Doubled his last at bat. Struck out twice. Luis Valbuena an RBI double against Dyson. It scored Chris Coghlan. Coghlan the last guy to face Anthony DeSclafani. Pitch is in. The Braves are losing again. 4-2. The Phillies suddenly are playing good baseball.
Yeah, it's happened to the Braves, though. The Braves have been the comeback kids lately, though. They've had some pretty good comebacks.
Bottom of the 7th, 4-2. Philadelphia. Castro fouls it off. Washington leads Houston 4-1. Bottom of the 6th. Mets and Cardinals 1-1. Bottom 5.
See the velocities there with Dyson. He has good stuff. And when he gets it moving and sinking, it's a lot of ground balls.
Topped out at 96, trying to get out of this inning. Chicago back on top. Got it in. McGee snares it and steps on the bag. But the Cubs get a run. Luis Valbuena's RBI double. 7th inning stretch, a 1-run Chicago lead. Bottom of the 7th, the AT&T fan photo. Tweet your photo, hashtag it FL fan photo, and it might appear just like this. Chess. It's a good look. Someone got a foul ball. Brian Schlitter arrives. Schlitter pitched last night. Toyota Trends. Marlins last 9 games. 28 hours and 22 minutes. Their time of game has gone up. 4 extra inning games, 3 13-inning games. The Marlins haven't won any of those. 3 games lasting 4 more hours. Echeverria bunts, and it's a beauty. Brett Butler was out early with Echeverria, with Marisnik, with Rafael Furcal. It was 2 o'clock. The roof was open. It was hot. Butler was firing in fastballs from close proximity, and everybody was working on bunting.
How about a 4-for-4 night for Danny Echeverria? And at Marlins Park this year, hitting around .330 now with this base hit. Beautiful execution. That's just perfect. Schlitter had no play.
Now Stanton.
I think Stanton happy to see someone other than Samardzija.
Fastball in. We've had a lot of emails and tweets, and I'll throw all of you in the same question to Tommy Hutton, asking if Giancarlo should move up on the plate a little bit.
What do we have? A bunch of batting coaches out there? I think he's doing quite well with where he is. He breaks enough bats, and with his extension that he gets, he's comfortable right where he is. The bottom line, he needs to stay off of that pitch that's off the plate.
1-1 and a throw to first.
I mean, fans are probably saying that because they've seen him tonight swing and miss and chase a few of those sliders off the plate.
Well, you saw what he could do with a pitch on the outside part last night when he blistered it out to right. Echeverria, good speed, diving back in.
Boy, quick over to first is Schlitter.
Good pronunciation, Tommy. Good pronunciation. Stanton fouls it off. It's 1-2. Two strikes. Miami down a run. Bottom 7. Danny Echeverria, after his 4th hit, is at first. Schlitter again coming close at first.
Yeah, he's really quick over to first. Here's a good look at Stanton. Let's see what the count 1 or 2 if they go off the plate with a slider.
Keep taking shots at Echeverria.
Well, Etch has gotten as far off as he wants because each time he's just gotten back.
Stanton check swing, no swing.
Tried to get him to chase it again.
That's close.
Able to hold those 32 ounces back.
Set up out, and it missed out. There's the hot zone. Look at the upper outside part and up 500, and that's where it was last night when he lasered one to right. Chopper towards second, and as thunder booms across Miami. I don't know if you heard that at home. Echeverria ends up at second, and Stanton is out number one.
That's right about as that pitch was delivered by Schlitter. Lightning, thunder, and we're nice and cozy.
Now McGee, who is 0 for 2. Bill tweets in, how about the run by former Marlin Burke Badenhop? 30 straight innings without an earned run right now. The Hopper is having a great year with Boston. If you listen, I think you can actually hear the rain. It is absolutely pouring.
It's pounding right now.
Here's the 1-0. Well, camera 12 might not be accessible right now. There's a look at what it looks like outside. We just had a note asking us if we missed anything from the old football stadium.
Not a thing. Not one thing.
You know, I will say this. There's the one thing that I missed from there are some people that worked in that ballpark that did not make the move down here, and I miss some of those people.
Okay, I'll go with you on that one. You're right. But we still have great people working here.
Oh, without a doubt, we have terrific people here. Look at the awning in the Clevelander, and that's the wind coming through. Remember, the back of the Clevelander is open. Hopefully the dancers aren't blown into the pool. Although I'd never considered that. Counts 3-1 to McGee. Marlins down a run. McGee has been so good with runners in scoring position this year. He has an 11-game hit streak, and he's not extended it tonight. Takes the walk and skips down to first. McGee has been getting a lot of walks lately. Look at that. That's a shot of the Clevelander right now. The wind coming in from the outside.
You have to wonder if I don't know if it's high enough to affect a baseball traveling out that way. If it were up higher, it might.
Fans are taking pictures.
It's just what's so tremendous about Marlins Park. We never even talk about weather. Don't worry about it.
Wesley Wright in the bullpen, and the lefty who came in the other night to face a lefty. Right now, Chris Bosio talking with Schlitter.
Case McGee, by the way, Rich, has walked 5 times in this series.
We saw the righty Justin Grimm down there as well. So a big at bat for Garrett Jones. It's been a tough series for him. He's 0 for 9. 3 strikeouts. He's got an opportunity here. Echeverria at second, McGee at first. There's 1 out. Not an extreme shift. Jones takes outside.
No, not as much as they've had in different situations, but with a couple of runners on, they have to kind of tighten it up a little bit. either Rick Renteria decided not to go with the lefty, or he didn't get Wesley Wright ready, but Jones gets the right-hander.
Jones to right. It's deep. Gone! Top of the wall! Out of here! 3-run shot!
You talked about it, Rich. It's been a rough couple of days for Garrett Jones. They kept the right-hander in to pitch to him, and he makes the Cubs pay the price. Number 9 on the year for Jonesy. And it just hit the top of the fence. Watch this ball. Right there into the bullpen. Thunder and lightning outside. Thunder and lightning inside.
Here is Ozuna. 6-4 Miami. So Jones now with 9 homers. And the Marlins jump on top. Ozuna cracks one high in the air to right. Shearholtz makes a catch. Brian Schlitter, who was in that parade of relievers last night, he pitched an inning and looked good.
Boy, a couple of little things in this inning, too. Don't forget about the bunt that started the inning. Perfect bunt by Echeverria. And the patient at bat of Casey McGee to draw the walk.
Now Marisnick. 2 for 3. The inning started with thunder. I mean, loud thunder and lots of rain. You could hear it on the roof of Marlins Park. We showed you the shot outside in the plaza. We showed you the shot in the Clevelander with that wind ripping through. Marlins got a couple runners on, and Garrett Jones bounces one off the top of the wall and out of here. So a 6-4 ball game. Justin Bour and Garrett Jones. It's a good sign that Bour is hanging around a guy like Jones. Bour, a young first baseman, left-hand hitter, and Jones, a guy that works so hard to get to the big leagues.
That's good to see, because you also like a younger guy like Bour to find out what these guys will pitch to a guy like Jones, because they may pitch him in a similar fashion.
Marisnick takes a strike. And it's 3-2. Well, Miami trying to get back to 2 over. Wow. Lightning is lighting up the Miami skyline right now at Marlins Park. Marisnick not happy, but the Marlins certainly are. Garrett Jones lowers the boom on Brian Schlitter. A 3-run shot in a 6-4 lead.
Well, the Marlins got a run early on a throwing error from Starling Castro, picking up an early 1-0 lead. But in the second inning, Junior Lake hit one off the Clevelander, a 2-run shot. Just like that, the Cubs took the lead. In the fourth inning, Rafael Furcal was able to tie it. The Cubs had added another run on a sac fly, and a tie game going in the seventh inning. But Val Buena hit a double into that right field corner. Chris Coughlin scoring all the way from first base. Put the Cubs up 4-3, but just like that, home run number 9 for Garrett Jones, a 3-run shot, has given the Marlins a 6-4 lead.
Jones gets a hold of one, and now in the 8th, the Marlins are going to stick with Sam Dyson. And it speaks to the state of the bullpen right now. Not necessarily effectiveness, but just fatigue and overuse.
Yeah, I think in talking, and you and I both talked to Mike Redmond before the game, he has guys down there who he knows if he really needed them, they would go in. Guys like A.J. Ramos, guys like Chris Hatcher, who've both done a nice job. But he really wanted to stay away from them.
So it's Shearholtz, Junior Lake, Darwin Barney. Into right field, Shearholtz sneaks one through. Stanton picks it up, and the Cubs are in business here. And here comes Lake.
Just splits the uprights.
Lake's home run was back in the second off of Anthony DeSclafani. Count 1-0.
It's a good pitch. I don't know if Dyson intended it to be in there, but the way Lake has swung the bat these two games. Every time. Every swing.
I mean, that's his swing. And the other thing, I'd love to see him hit off the tee, because I'm assuming when he hits off the tee,
it's the same swing.
It's the same swing.
That's the flip drill. Same swing.
Probably when he was 10 or 11 years old, same swing. It was in, but it didn't miss by much. And there it is. Pitch number 3. He's kept it in on him, but at the same time he's fallen behind 3-1.
Boy, now you really got to be careful with this pitch.
You've got Barney on deck, and then you get to Whiteside in the 8th spot.
Think he's going to hold back on this swing?
Nope. When you take a swing like that, it's tough to keep the shirt in. Remember Dontrelle Willis? Constantly
tucking his shirt in.
Yes.
You know another guy whose shirt gets untucked all the time like that? Juan Uribe.
I thought you were going to say Craig. Here's a 3-2 coming. He got him. Swing and a miss. Lake strikes out. Up comes Barney. Big pitch by Dyson. Big moment in the ballgame.
Yeah, it is. Good comeback. Baltimore 3-1. They're making a couple of good pitches. Now go tuck it in.
And I was making reference to Craig's male modeling stint on the show tonight.
I knew you were.
I think next time I drive by the Men's Warehouse, I'm going to see Craig in the window on a big poster. Here's Barney.
You and I will stick to Nordstrom's.
Bouncer to short. Echeverria one for call to first. Safe. Call didn't quite have a grip on the ball, and he kind of floated it and bounced it to first.
Tough to have the timing on that with the way Echeverria flipped it to Fergal. May have gotten across the bag a little too soon and then had to throw across his body. Because he had to throw across his body, couldn't quite get enough on the throw, and Barney was able to beat it.
And John Baker is going to hit for Eli Whiteside. Mike Redmond on his way out. And so with Baker announced, Mike Dunn is going to come into the ball game. So a little mixing and matching here. Dyson, the big out, certainly getting Junior Lake. And Dunn comes in with 2 outs. So Dunn will face John Baker. Baker got the start last night and was 2 for 5 and went the distance, 13 innings behind the plate. Dyson gave up a single to Shearholtz, struck out Lake, fielder's choice from Barney. Marlins trying to piece it together on a fatigued bullpen night and get it to Steve Cishek in the ninth. Hold on to this 2-run lead. First pitch, swing and a miss. Now Dunn did work last night, but his load was just a third of an inning. He followed Chris Hatcher, who was super again last night.
You had a nice talk with Hatcher before the game. I know of talking about his confidence and the reason he's had some success as of late. He's been tremendous.
And that's one of the silver linings of these games we've seen so far in this homestand. The Pirates series and then the two here with the Cubs. Yes, the Marlins have had some short starts, but there have been some nights where the bullpen has held it together for a long time, and Hatcher has been really impressive. Clark Spencer in his nightly blog on the Miami Herald site with a terrific note on Hatcher. One and two to Baker. And pitches outside. Hatcher's numbers these past few outings, of the last 13 outs he's recorded, 12 have been strikeouts. No Marlins pitcher has ever done that over a 13-out span.
Impressive. Command of the secondary pitches, but also command of his fastball.
Bullpen hoping that Mike Dunn could shut down the Cubs here in the 8th. He's 2-2 on Baker. Chopper, Jones has it, steps on the bag, and Dunn finishes the 8th. Miami hangs on to a 2-run lead. The 8th, nice job by Mike Dunn, Sam Dyson in the 8th. Never too late to download the MLB.com at the Ballpark mobile app for great features throughout the year. Let's check in through the app, earn free tickets, download the free MLB.com at the Ballpark app today. Changes for the Cubs as expected. And John Baker pinch hit for Eli Whiteside. He'll stay in. Ryan Sweeney's into the game. He's in center field. Saw Justin Grimm warming up. And Grimm, also one of the many that was called on last night. He was the first out of the pen last night.
Yeah, just a third of an inning from Grimm last night. Remember last night, every time one of their relief pitchers came out, the numbers seemed to get better and better each time. Yeah, Grimm came on in the 7th inning. It took him a while to get it out. He gave up a base hit to Jake Marisnick. He walked Jeff Baker. And he finally got it out.
Real Muto. Yes. And he went. Sounds like you see Justin Bour waiting on deck. It sounds like things are progressing well with Jared Saltalamacchia in his rehab from the concussion list.
Yeah, he had a couple of hits yesterday. We've had a night of a lot of former Marlins. Did you see who hit 2 home runs for Texas last night?
Donnie Bleepin Murphy.
Donnie Murphy.
Donnie Bleepin Murphy hit 2 of them. That's no surprise. He's got a lot of pop. He had a nice run with the Cubs last year, actually, in which he hit a pretty good amount of homers in a short amount of playing time. Chet getting ready. 1-2. Foul back. Now this email must have been sent earlier in the night. Tommy and Rich, with Marisnick providing an offensive spark with his bat and his speed, why not let him stay in center and put Yelich at first? Garrett Jones is hurting the Marlins offensively.
I guess that tweet came before the 3-run homer.
Absolutely. That's what I thought. Three-2. Foul back to the screen. Andy wants to know 2 questions. Has any ball struck the roof, and did the team take measurements of pop-ups before they built the ballpark? It hasn't yet, but it'll happen somewhere, sometime.
I don't know. Stanton has hit a couple that we both thought would hit some beams, and it didn't.
Up and in. And Real Muto walks. Justin Bour comes to the plate. We check in with Allison Williams.
And Justin Bour, Rich, is another new fish for the Marlins, back for his 2nd stint with Miami. In his first stint, he made his major league debut against Tampa, had a couple of big hits. Oddly enough, for the kid from Centerville, Virginia, he played defensive tackle in high school, but we have yet to see him play defense for the Marlins. All of his appearances have been as either a designated hitter or as a pinch hitter, as we are seeing now. Now, you'll notice when he does go up to bat, he's got an old school feel to him, probably because he doesn't wear those batting gloves. I asked him why not. He said it's something that just started in Little League, because he wasn't always paying attention, and so he'd run out there and get into the batter's box without his batting gloves, and it just kind of stuck. He felt more comfortable. He tried to use them in his later years in high school, college, and so on, and it never felt quite right, so he has ditched the batting gloves altogether, guys.
I'm not sure what's up. Are they asking for a replay on that? Anthony Rizzo looked into the dugout as if to say, hey, I think they got him.
Yeah, I think I heard them say from the dugout, Rick Renteria said we're challenging the play.
Rizzo was very adamant about it. And he's in there.
And he stays on the bag.
Yeah. And it looks like Rizzo, I mean, it looked like his foot.
the back part of the foot remained on touching the bag. I think Rizzo thought maybe it came off.
Or if it did come off, it looked like Rizzo's glove was long gone at the time. But that's what Rizzo is saying, is that his foot came off the bag on the tag. So we'll try to take another look and get you as many angles as we have. The Cubs are challenging that.
There was a little flinch in Real Muto. See, now that the glove is off. I can't see where they got it. I mean, it looks like he got back.
Well, the first look we had, here's a look at it. See how long the glove is on him. Foot's on, glove's off. Looks like the back heel's still on the bag.
Even if he came off for half a second, by that time the glove was off.
Now, obviously the umpire's in New York.
And the crowd is seeing the shot that we just showed.
Umpires in New York have the views from here for both telecasts, from the Marlins telecast here on Fox Sports Florida and from the Cubs telecast on Comcast. Call on the field is safe at first base. And from the length of it, Tommy, I would guess that they're still looking for a better view than we had. Is he out? No, he's safe. So the call on the field is confirmed. Cubs lose a challenge. And Rizzo says, hey, come on, level with me here. See, that's an aspect of replay that I think would be an interesting dynamic. A manager having to take a player's word or a player's direction to
challenge. Where a manager's really going to have to know his players.
Here's Bohr. And in that case, there was no call to the Cubs video room. Rick Renteria simply went on Anthony Rizzo's recommendation. Bohr takes out, and it's 2-0.
So the reaction by Anthony Rizzo, he still thinks he got it.
Bohr with a ground ball. Barney looked at second and spins around and gets the out at first. Well, by having the call confirmed, it says that the umpires felt his foot never left the bag, or that if it did leave the bag, Rizzo's glove was long gone.
See, he's still questioning Laz Diaz, or they're talking about it. He could be saying, you know, I thought this. I guess it showed this.
So Bohr bounces out. Real Muto in scoring position. Here's for call. One of the biggest hits of the night before the Jones 3-run homer was for Call's 2-run single in the fourth. And it came with 2 outs, and the Marlins were down 3-1 against Jeff Samardzija. Barney grabs it, fires to first in time to get the out. And the reason it was big, Tommy, Miami had the bags loaded and nobody out, down by 2, and Anthony DeSclafani hit a little tapper in front of the plate, and it was an easy double play. Step on the plate, throw to first, double play. And it looked like that inning was going to fizzle. And for Call, saved the day.
Danny Echeverria, second 4-hit game of the year. He's never had a 5-hit game.
Well, his 4th hit was a thing of beauty. It was a bunt down the third base line, something that he's really been working on, something that he just didn't do, and Perry Hill has been working on him. And then Brett Butler arrived, and Butler and Echeverria spent a lot of time in the spring.
The other thing is 3 singles have all been sharply hit up the middle. That's a game plan that he has stayed with all year.
He's upped his average to 273. So 4 for 4 gets him 11 points from where he started tonight. And Grimm is a ball away from bringing Stanton to the plate. Who was the best hitter you ever hit in front of?
Got to go with the Hall of Famer Mike Schmidt.
Noticeably different when you hit in front of Schmidt as opposed to batting 7th.
Well, yeah, you knew who they wanted to pitch to, and it wasn't Schmitty.
And how did it change the pitches that you got?
It changes your thought. You have a better idea. You're going to get some fastballs in counts where if you were in another part of the order, you might see breaking pitches. That was the one thing. I mean, I will say I got to hit it in every part of the order. Hit 8 in certain times. So it changes.
Stanton's on deck. He's getting fastballs here. And you're right. I mean, if say Echeverria was in the 7th spot or the 8th spot here,
it'd be completely different.
Another 3-2. And another fastball. And this one gets him. Echeverria strikes out. Steve Cishek with a 2-run lead to protect in the 9th. Of the 7th, standing up 6-4 Miami. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig.
All right, Rich, we're getting ready for our Checkers post-game show. We'll have another look at the Thunder bringing Garrett Jones and his house down with that big hit with the Storm hitting outside the ballpark here. Also, how about Echeverria in the number 2 hole? Jeff Conine's thoughts on that, and of course clubhouse reaction. Allison will have a post-game interview, and we'll have Rich and Tommy for a final thought, all coming up just a bit.
And Craig, during that inning, you were out and about and closer to the weather than we were. We could hear it even with our headsets on, the loud thunder and the lightning. What was it like for you?
Yeah, pretty loud, and because the acoustics, first of all, inside are incredible in this building. And one of the reasons is the roof. And on the other direction, the rain hitting, you could hear it very loud. Obviously, you saw the shots you guys out of the Clevelander. where not only could they hear it, but they could feel the weather. A rare opportunity to feel the weather here at Marlins Park.
That's right. That's a good point. Here's Cishek now, trying to shut the door. Jeff Mathis into the ball game. Behind the plate, Brian Sweeney, who came in the double switch, leads it off for the Cubs. Then you've got Valbuena, Ruggiano, Rizzo, and Castro if anybody reaches.
Steve Cishek trying to nail down save number 16. K-Rod of the Brewers leads the league with 21.
He's having an all-star season, isn't he?
Few guys up there. Trevor Rosenthal with 20. Kimbrel has 20, and Sergio Romo has 20.
We were talking about the Royals earlier tonight. Kansas City has an 11-4 lead over Detroit. A guy that's made an impact with the Royals, the former Cubs manager, Dale Swaim.
All of a sudden, hitting. He's their second hitting coach this year. They've made a few changes in hitting coaches over the last few years.
George Brett was actually in that.
Tried to talk him back into it again.
Counts 1-2.
You know, we've talked about, and it's nothing fans can do anything about because the pitchers are selected. But Steve Cishek should get consideration. Don't know if he'll become an all-star. There's still plenty of time.
You would hope that with the Marlins' market improvement from last year, that they will get multiple players on the all-star team. Someone other than Stan. You know Stanton's going. Whether he's voted in the starting lineup or whether he's named, he's going. Liner into right center field. Base hit. Stanton's going into the gap. Cuts it off. Sweeney round first and into second. If Stanton doesn't get there, it's a triple. And the Cubs have a start in the ninth.
So by Stanton, we've talked about this a lot over the last few weeks. Playing into that right center field gap, he keeps Sweeney from getting the triple because he was able to cut it off. Yeah, it's really been fun listening to different national radio shows, hearing a lot of Marlins talk. You had an opportunity on MLB Network today to pump up the fish a little bit. So nationally, people are talking a little bit about the Marlins mainly because of the division.
Well, and remember, this is a team that won 14 games combined in April and May last year. And so to be sitting here with a chance to go 2 over almost 3 weeks into June, this would be win number 36 if they could get it here tonight.
But so it'd be safe to say that the Braves and the Nationals have been underachievers, and the Marlins to this point have been overachievers.
Valbuena saw the career numbers against Cishek. He's had a good night tonight, a pair of doubles on a 2-for-4 night. And it pops away from Mathis. Sweeney to third, and he's in. But Mathis looked like he never saw the ball. It's going to be a pass ball.
This is where now you just have to forget about Sweeney. Just get outs. Don't worry about that run.
Buena, dangerous hitter. And he hooks it foul. Cubs on the other hand at 10 under, 29 and 39. Slider got him. One out.
I'll tell you what, it's a good fastball hitting ball club. Valbuena, certainly Lake Castro. So when you can make pitches with sliders, curveballs, some changeups, you're going to have some success. So that was a good pitch by Steve Cishek.
Now Ruggiano, who certainly has the power to pop it out of here. Tommy had that amazing stat the other night. Ruggiano is third all-time in Marlins Park as far as home runs.
Yeah, I think with 7.
That went foul back and out of play. You know who's going to catch him, though, pretty quickly here? Ozuna. And Garrett Jones.
Actually, Ozuna has caught him. Ozuna's second run on that pitch. Yeah, he's passed him.
I think Garrett Jones is next.
Yeah.
Oh, 2 coming. It's outside.
Garrett Jones with the home run tonight has 5 here at Marlins Park.
Jones a 3-run homer in the bottom of the 7th to erase a 1-run Chicago lead. 1-2. Breaking ball popped him up. Mathis and Jones over. It's off the top of the dugout. On this rainy night and stormy night, thunder, lightning all around downtown Miami. Cubs and Marlins, who played a tight one all the way to the 13th last night, are here in the 9th. Steve Cishek needs a couple more outs. Two and 2. In the air, center field. Resnick there makes the catch. Runner tags on his way home. And the Cubs are within a run, but they're down to their last out. Sweeney scores. Ruggiano drives in the run. 6-5.
Good battle by Ruggiano. Reached out for that slider and was able to get it deep enough. So the pass ball hurt in this situation, allowing Sweeney to get to third base.
Rizzo, who has the power and the stroke to tie it in one swing. 14 home runs. He had that game winner in extras and Wrigley.
So far, the Marlins have kept him quiet in this series.
Two and 1. Atlanta has lost. The Phillies win that ball game 5-2. Nationals are leading 6-5 in the 8th over Houston. Rizzo pulls it into the dugout.
Well, that takes the Braves to 36 and 34. If the Marlins hang on here, they'll be 36 and 34. And if the Nationals win their game, they'll be 36 and 33.
The Marlins will be a half game out of first time with Atlanta. They need a strike or an out here. 2-2. Now back to the screen. This wants a slider. Got him! Ball game! Cishek finishes. And the Marlins even the series with the Cubs. Big night for the Fish. Danny Echeverria with 4 hits. Garrett Jones, a 3-run homer. Jake Marisnick, 2 more hits. Disco pitches well.